Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me and see me along with the screen. If you can hear me and see me along with the screen, please type in L and C in the chat box so that I know we are ready to get started. Okay. Hello, 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 hello. Please type in chat box. Okay, good. Nice to hear that you are able to see me and hear me. Let's wait for exactly 2 minutes and get started. Thank you all for those of you who have joined on time. We just want to ensure that others join in. While others are joining in, I would like to share some funny incident that happened just about an hour ago. So I'm doing sessions at multiple cohorts, right? So one of the cohort, the session starts at 6 o'clock. And so today also I got confused that the session starts at 6 o'clock. So I went ahead, created a YouTube live link, and then I shared it with our team to share it with the community. Luckily, they were aware that it is starting at 7 o'clock. But I was expecting people to join in, and I was wondering, like, why are people not joining in? Like, what's wrong today? Nobody has joined. And so I was sharing this with the team that nobody has joined. Please share the link with everyone so that they can join and so on and so forth. And they are wondering, like, why should we share the link now when the session is happening at 7 o'clock? So luckily they didn't share. And then I realized that, okay, the session is actually at 7 o'clock. Okay, it's 7 o'clock and we can begin the session. Um, so, are you all ready to get started? If you are ready, type in ready in the chat box and let's get started. Hello, 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 hello. Okay, great. Thank you for the confirmation and let's get started. So, today, the topic that we are going to cover is pop up, floating group, and focus group, right? So, let's understand what is a pop up. Okay, for that, let me go to LinkedIn. And if you remember, yep, okay. So, if you remember, when we click on this particular uh, group or icon, sorry, element, right? Something opens up where you are allowed to type in the message and then create a post, right? This is a pop up, right? As the name suggests, it pops up out of the screen, right? It's not on the screen, it's popping up. And that's why it is called a pop up. Okay. Now let's try to replicate this particular view, right? And we can create a post from here. In the last session, I think we created a post with post text, but we allowed the users to create the post directly from here itself, right? I'm going to remove this upload image and the button because that was just a temporary setup that we'd done, allowing users to upload their profile image. Okay, so we created a multi-line input box here and we added a button here. That's how we allowed the users to create the post during the last session. And that was because we had not covered the pop-up yet. Okay, now if we search for pop-up, then we get this one. Click anywhere on the screen and then the pop-up will appear, right? Let's first rename this to create post, right? And let's try to replicate the way we have it in LinkedIn, right? So I think this is about 650 to 700 pixels. So I'll give a max of 700. I'll remove this fit width to content. Okay, so this looks pretty good. And they have about 500 or so pixels height. So we'll create that. They also have padding on all the sides. So we already have that by default added. Okay. Now we have this particular section where we are displaying the person's profile image, the name, and then post to anyone, right? Uh, so let me click on it again. So we need to have this section on the top and then the place where they can type in whatever they want. Okay, then they have a few options to add, like rewrite with AI or adding image, create an event, and so on and so forth. We will skip this for now. And then we have option to post. Okay, so we will create this top section. We'll create this particular portion and then option to create a post, the button. Okay, so what should be the layout of this particular pop-up? Column, row, align to parent, fixed. What should it be? Yes, 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 waiting, waiting, waiting. What is it? Okay, that's right. So we need it as column, and that's already set as column, right? And for the top portion, which is this section over here, we need to have a group. So I'm going to add a group here, and we can call this as top. Now, what should be the top portion layout? Should it be column, row, fixed, or aligned to parent? This portion, this one. Come on, come on, come on, come on. This one needs to be a row because it is one besides the other, right? So we have that one. And then if you closely observe, we have a group here as well, right? Because this and this are sticking together, whereas this one is on the rightmost side. Okay. So we will add one more group within, right, which will be within this group. And this will be called user. Okay. And then we need to have an icon within here, okay, outside the group, right, which is to close the pop-up. So let's go to material and we can choose this one. Okay. Now, this is for closing the pop-up. What is for the opening of pop-up? So when we click on this particular multi-line input box, okay, we want it to open. Rather, let's remove this multi-line input box and make it as a group, because multi-line input box has nothing to do in that place. Yesterday we did a multi-line input box just because we had not yet covered pop-up, right? So I'll make this as create post group. Okay, and let's quickly check how does it look like. So this is how it looks like, right? So we have a profile image and then this particular group here. Okay, so we've added a group. Let's add profile image within. Okay, and this is current users profile pic, and the roundness should be 100, and the layout with 1:1, and let's make the width as 30. Okay, or even bigger, maybe 35, right? And let's get this to, yeah, that's fine. And then we can add a text, which is basically start a post. Okay, now this particular group should be row because elements are one besides the other. Okay, and we can add a spacing of 20 and make this one as the next element. We also need to have good padding on all the sides, right? It's probably 15, so I'll add 15, 15, 15, and 15. And it also expands until the end. And we also have roundness of about 20. It also has a background style of flat color, and we can have it slightly grayish. Okay, so let's check if that's what they have. And they also have a border. Okay, so solid border 6x6x6. Let's change this one to 30 so it has more roundness. Let's quickly check if this is looking like what we have on LinkedIn. Okay, so I'll have to remove this particular thing from here and the button from here. Okay, this is what we want. And like we did for the profile image, let's do that as well quickly because we don't want it to be left behind. So current users name. Okay, and we can make this as 1:1 because we're not displaying that on the front end. And conditional, like we did in the last session, current users profile image is empty. Then image source will be alphabet image b's current image. Okay. Now, because we had added 20 and we have added one more element in between, which is alphabet image b. Okay. It's showing us too much of space. So I'll just change this to 10. Okay. Let's quickly check if this is working fine. Okay. So this seems to have some issue. So let's make this as fixed width. Okay. So it will just take 1 pixel width and not like this. Okay, it's still not showing anything because I am probably not logged in. So let me go to app data. I'll go to users and I will log in as abcd@red7.com. Okay, so you can see the image being shown. Let's quickly check the image, and this one should be of the same height. Let's quickly make that change. This is probably 45. Let's see. No, it's even more. It's probably 60. Looks like. Let's try with 55. Yeah, 55 is good. So let's change this to 55 as well. Okay. Good enough. Okay. Now, when we click this one is when the pop-up should open, right? Closely observe. Not when I click on this one. Okay, when I click on this one, it should open the profile section. But when I click on this particular group is when it should open. Okay, so this one. So I'm going to this particular text, add workflow, and here is where we are opening the pop-up. And the way we show the pop-up is search for show and element. Now it will ask you what is the element that you want to show. And the element that we want to show is pop-up create post. Okay, so when we click on this particular text, we are showing the pop-up. Now let's go to the pop-up element. And when we click on this one is when we want to hide the pop-up, right? So hide an element, it'll ask you which element do you want to hide. Pop-up create post is what we want to hide. So let's quickly check if this is working fine. So when I click on this one, the pop-up opens up, right? And when I click on this one, it closes. Are you following it so far? Are we on the good speed? I hope you are able to follow it. Everyone? Yes, 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 yes. Come on. Okay, good. Now, once the pop-up is opened, right, we need to show this particular section here. So let's do that. Okay, so we have this group user section where again we have to add the image, right? And the image is current user's profile pic. Okay, and then we have the name and the second text. For now, I will skip the second text. I'll just show the name. Okay, and the way we do that is add the text box. Of course, change this particular group from column to row because it is one besides the other. Get this to the first one, make it center. Get this text box to center. Add some spacing between the elements. Let's say 20. and this particular text would be current user's name. Okay, we can also make the change to 18 and bold. And this particular image can be with roundness 100 with the aspect ratio being fixed with 35. Let's check if this is working fine so far. Is this good, everyone? Can we move further? Okay. Now, here is where we can add the multi-line input box. Okay, that will be outside this group. Okay, multi-line input box, and we can go to the pop-up and add spacing of 20, and this is where they have to type. What do you want to talk about? Okay, so we'll go to this one and we'll type the same thing. What do you to talk about? And we will expand this, make this as 280, right? Expand this, and yeah, it is fully open. One of the things is we do not want a border to it, right? So we will remove the border. Plus, we also do not want any padding. So I'll just make this as 0, 0, 0, and 0. Yeah, and the placeholder text seems to be slightly darker than what we have right now. So we can probably okay. Of course, this is maybe 300. Okay, so much space. And then finally, we have post as a button. So I'm adding the button over here, okay, which will be called post. And we have roundness of, let's say, 30. And this should be on the right side. Okay. Now you can check that this is grayish in color and you cannot click on it until and unless you have something. Okay. So we'll use the same logic. This should not be empty. And this particular button by default, right, will be, let's say, grayish like this, or let's say gray like this with 25%. And the font color will be this one, 100%. Something like this, right? Now, on the post button, we'll add a condition where we will tell if multi-line, what do you want to do, what do you want to talk about, its value is not empty, right? Then background color becomes blue, 0462 CB, and the font color becomes white. One more thing, by default, we don't want this to be clickable, but if we have anything over here, then this becomes clickable. Okay, so I'm unchecking this, which means it is clickable. Okay, let's check if we have been able to get this so far. I'm clicking on this one, it opens up. This is the button here. We might have to slightly make this a bit more darker because it's not visible right now. So background color, let's make it as 45%. So I'm clicking on this one and you can see that this is not clickable now. I can't click. And once I type in something, this becomes blue with white. Okay, that's what we have it over here. We've added a lot of space at the bottom. So let's quickly make some small changes there. So I probably make this as 450 and it gets adjusted. One last thing, when we click on this button, what we want is to be able to create a post. So as we figured out in the last session, the way we create a new thing is search for create a new thing, select that. It'll ask you what you want to create. And the only data type that we have created so far is post. Set another field, and post text is coming from multi-line input. What do you want to talk about? Value. Okay. So let's quickly world of is moving so fast. Okay, so let me just copy this, create a post. I will not be showing this particular pop-up for now. Post successful. Okay, you can see that the post is being shown here. Similarly, what we will do is I'll click on this. I'll add this, click on post. It should have been created. Let's quickly check if it's created. Yeah, it's created. Just that we are not showing showing it on the front end, right? So one thing we can do is we have to hide the pop-up. So I'm going to add to the workflow here. That is reset relevant inputs. The input box that we filled in with should be reset first. And then we will also hide an element, which will basically be the pop-up create post. And finally, we can also show a alert box saying post created successfully, right? They did it in a pop-up way. We will slightly do it differently. Okay, I'll go to plugins. I'll add a plugin, search for alert, and you will get this air alert. I'll install this plugin. And this basically has three actions, right? Air alert custom, air alert standard, air alert clear all. So I'm going to search for air and I'll use standard. Here we can say post created, post has been added. Okay, let's quickly check if this is working out well. Bubble is moving. I hope so, right? I'll click on post and you can see post created. Your post has been added, has come here. One thing though we have to make is this should be in reverse order. That is the latest post needs to come on the top. So we will go to this repeating group and we will just set this by create a date and ascending is yes. Oh, sorry, descending is yes. Okay. That way the latest post will come on the top. Did you understand how pop-ups are created in Bubble and where it can be used? Yes, is this clear? Okay. Now, I would love to hear from you. What are the what are the applications where you have seen pop-up? What are the examples of pop-up that you can think of? Can you write it in the chat box? I would love to hear from you. What are the examples of pop-up that you can think of? Come on, come on, come on, come on. Asking reviews, Zomato, Flipkart, LinkedIn, X, payment details, OTP, okay, Swiggy. Do you remember what happens when you click on delete a file on your Windows system? Or I believe that's the same even with iOS, rather uh, Apple. What happens when you click on delete a file? You get a pop-up which asks, are you sure you want to delete this? Password reset, all right? Warnings. All of this are examples of a pop-up. So next time you see a pop-up being shown, okay, you have to connect the dots, right? What's happening behind the scenes. Okay, can we move on to the next section, that is floating groups? Are we ready to move on to the next one? Yes, 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 yes. Sign up, yes, sometimes. Sign up is also a good example of pop-up. Okay, let's move on. Now, what is a floating group? I'll first show you an example and then we can see how to build it, right? So when we scroll through, everything is moving around the screen, right? You can see that this side it is moving, this side it is moving, this side also it is moving, okay? But one thing that is static is on the top, right? This screen over here is not moving, right? Wherever you go, you scroll as low as possible on the screen, right? But this portion on the top, which is header, and this on the bottom, right? Both are not moving at all. And that is called floating group. It's floating on the screen, right? And that's why it's not moving along with other elements, right? It's not added on the page, right? What we scroll is the page, but floating groups are floating on the page, right? Think about it like a flying machine or something like that. It's not added on the page. I don't know what happened to this. Yeah. So it's floating on top of the page and that's why it's not moving. Yeah, is this clear? Can we see how do we create a floating group? Sorry, I have some irritation with my eyes today. I'm not sure why. But okay, so let's firstly create this particular section on the top header. Freeze pane like in Excel. Exactly, Smita. Thanks for sharing that. Right? it stays there. Okay, so again, just search for floating group, add it, and it will be added to the top left. Okay, you can move it to bottom, both, nothing. I mean, you can check that when you make it as bottom, it will come to the bottom. If you make it as both, then it will expand top to bottom. What is nothing? I'm not sure what is nothing here, but anyways, right? We want the top one, we will use top. Again, you can move it to left, right, or even center. Okay, we will keep it as left. Let's go to layout, and I will uncheck this so that it expands for the entire width of the page. Okay, and let's call this as header. Okay, we don't need 250 height. Let's make it as 80. And we can also make it as fixed height because we do not want the header to expand anytime. Okay, now because we have made this as 80 pixels, we have to go to the main group and add a margin of maybe 90, not 900, 90. Okay, let's quickly check. Yeah, so we have about 20 pixels gap between, no, that's fine. Okay, so we can add top of 80. Okay, so that this group and this group has good spacing. Let's quickly check if the header is added properly. Okay, so this is the header and this is the bottom part, which has space like we saw. If we scroll, the header remains there and rest of things will move. Okay, now we can create these things quickly, right? I'll not go with this one for now. I'll just create this buttons over here, right? Because we want to understand mainly the concept of floating group. And as we move on, we will replicate as much as possible of LinkedIn. So we're not just understanding the concept, but we will also build it along based on the platform that we already know, that we have already been using for a very long time. So it becomes clear as to how these platforms are built, okay, technically speaking. Okay, so now I'm going to add a button here. Yeah. Now, let me ask a quick question. Header over here should be what layout? Should it be a column layout, row layout, fixed, or aligned to parent? What is that? Everyone, come on. I've been asking this every time. And whatever you use, group, pop-up, floating group, right? Everything has the same concept of your group layout, right? Just that its properties or the way it behaves is different, but everything is like a group. Okay, perfect. Everyone has guessed it right. It should be a row, right? So I'll just make it as row, and we want all the elements to be in the center. Okay, plus we will also add a space between each of these. Okay, there is no space. They have padding. Okay, so I'm going to add a padding left of 15, right of 15. Okay, and we will go to this element, bring it to center. And we need this label plus icon. Okay, the first one is home. So I'll search for home and maybe this one. Okay, label is this one. Now here we have the icon on the left and home text on the right side. But what we want is up and down. Icon placement should be top. Okay, and this is precisely what we want. And the spacing between them is not too much. So we can go to gap and make it as, let's say, 4 or maybe even 2. Okay. And by default, there is no background color to it. Okay. So I'm going to remove the background color and icon color, right, which is handled over here. No, here itself. Icon color. Okay. Is black. Font color is also black. Okay, especially for the home. Okay, now let's just copy this, add more. So once home is done, we have my network, and we'll search for people. We'll copy paste. The next one is jobs. This jobs. This is suitcase, or let's say work. Then we have messaging. Messages. And we have notifications. Messaging it is. Okay. And then we have notifications. This one, notifications. Okay. Of course, all of this are gray, so we'll have to just change that. I missed that, so we can make it as to be. No, not here. To be. To be is also too dark, so we'll use 6B, 6B6. Oh, come on now. 6B, 6B, 6B. Okay, we'll copy this, paste it over here as well. We will do it at all the places. We should have done it in one icon and copy paste it, but that's okay. So this is done. Into here, and we're adding it over here. Let's quickly check if this is good enough. And one last thing that we had to do is this particular line. So let's go to this one, and we need to add border style. We will define each borders independently because we want only the bottom border. So border style bottom is solid, and this is black. And is it just seems to be like 2 pixels? So I'll make the width as 2. Let's check. And there you go. Just that it is sticking to the thing, which means we do not have, okay, there's no padding. This is probably 65. No. What is it that's adding? Oh, it should be even smaller, maybe 55. Yeah. 50. Yeah. And the border does not have any roundness. Okay, in this case, we have like 333. I'll just remove this 0, make this 0, make this 0, and 0, so that the border is straight instead of this curvy nature at the end. Have we come very close to what we saw on LinkedIn? Of course, we need some padding on the top. So let's go here and add some padding on the top alone. Maybe 10. And if we make that as 10, then we have to make this as 60. Okay. Have we replicated very similar to what we have on LinkedIn? One of the things that we missed to do is now this need not be 80, this can be 60 because the gap, the header is 60. Bottom padding is not required because it's not there. It's sticking to the bottom. Are we getting closer to what we are seeing on LinkedIn? Yeah. And you all might be wondering, like, okay, we can create LinkedIn clone, right? Very, very easily. And that's the beauty of learning Bubble, right? You can start, what I say, creating any application that you can think of, not just LinkedIn. LinkedIn was just an example that we took, right? But you can start thinking like any application like Zomato, Swiggy, Amazon, right? Or your Airbnb, Instagram, okay, WhatsApp, whatever you think of, you already know what are the elements, what are they using behind the scenes, isn't it? Okay, let's quickly also do this part over here, right? And then we'll move on to the next section. So I'm going to add one more floating group, right? And this time it will be bottom and right. Okay, it is having some 20 pixels from the right side. So we will add a margin of 20. Okay. And we don't need it to be 250. We can have it maybe 65 or maybe 80. Let's make it a 75. Okay. Yeah. And this can be called as messages. Okay. Background color is blue and 0462 CD. And we have rounded edges on the top right and left. So we will define it separately. Top left is 5, top right is 5. Maybe 5 is too small. Let's make it as 10 to see if that matches. 10. Let's see how is this started to look. Okay, I'll remove this debug mode equal to true, otherwise the bottom part will be showing like this. Oh, this is too much. This is too much. 75 is too much. Let's make it as 55. And let's also make it as fixed for now. Okay, very close, I would assume, right? And now we need to have the profile image and then messaging and 3 dots and then a couple of more icons. Okay, so we need to have group. I'm going to add a group here. Okay, we can call one group as left group. Okay, again, this is a row. We can have one more group, okay, which is called right? The parent, which is floating group messages, should also be row, right? So this is one group, this is one more group, and let's bring it to center by adding the padding. Top we can have 5, bottom we can have 5, left we can have 10, right we can have 10. Let's make across 10. Okay. So I'll just remove this, let it be fixed fit height to content. Now on the left side, we have the profile image and messaging as a text, right? So I'm going to add an image here. Okay. And this will be current user's profile pic. Okay. And the roundness is 100. We can make aspect ratio fixed. And I'll just remove this. Oh no, that's very bad. Let's make it as 35. And where did that go? Yeah, we have it over here. Okay, we still have some space, so maybe we'll try with 40. Okay, and then let's add a text besides to it, and this will be messaging, right? And the font color here is white. And let's add some spacing between these elements, maybe 10, right? And the messaging text needs to be in the center. And on the right side group, we have 3 icons. So I'm going to add icon over here. Okay. The first icon is 3 dots. Okay, nope. Menu. Okay, what is that? Does anyone know what is that called? Oh, so sorry, everyone. So sorry. Just give me a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute. I'll move myself. I just saw that message. Okay. I hope you can see it now. Do you want me to repeat what I did? Or you've gotten what I was trying to do? Let me just repeat quickly. All right. I was so much involved in the process that I didn't read the message. Sorry about that. Okay, so I added a floating group, which we made it as bottom right. And then I added 2 group, and this one we have made the layout as row so that it comes one besides the other. I added 2 groups. One is group left and one is group right. The reason I've done it that way is because we have 2 things sticking one besides the other, and we have a lot of space in between, and then we have 3 icons. Okay, so we have grouped it separately so that we have a left group and the right group. Okay, and on the left group we have our image added and the text, which is messaging, which is in the vertically center aligned. Now I'm working on the left side group. Okay, sorry, right side group with the icon. Okay, now here they have this 3 dots. I am not sure what is that called. in icon family. So I'll probably go with menu. Okay, so please adjust with that. Okay, I'll remove the padding that they've added. Or okay, let's have the padding and just increase this one to 35, 35, or maybe 30, 30. And let's get to the center. Let's go to the next icon. And next icon is edit. And we should be able to find this icon. Edit. This is calendar edit, IDFB. Let's see if we have it in different. Maybe this one. Okay, somebody has mentioned that it is called sorry, ellipsis. Okay, not available with material. Phosphor, it's not available. Ionic. Okay, we have it over here. Let's quickly check if we have it in further. No. Okay, let's go with this one. And this was also from this. Okay, cool. Thank you for that. And then we have the top arrow. I'm going to copy this, paste this, and this is top. Ionic. Nope. Material, or maybe up. Yeah. Let's quickly check if Ionic has a better one. Up. Yes. Okay. And because we want it all aligned towards the right, we'll go here and make it as right aligned. So we have the space added. And let's quickly check if this is working fine. Built-on bubble is coming in between and we don't have any control over it for now. So let me just make this slightly above. Okay, by adding bottom padding of 30. So that you can see it. Okay, good enough. Yeah. Everyone enjoying the learning process? Okay, great. So the last topic for today is focus group, right? And I'll show you what is that. Let me find a quick example of that. Okay. Which group, Manoj? You can mention like which group in the chat box and I'll answer that. So when we click on this one, right, there is this particular group which is opening up. Okay. And that is linked to this particular element here, right? So let's quickly create that also on our header and then we will move. So this is again a group. I'm going to add a group over here. You're talking about the focus group? Okay, so this is what we want to create right now. So that's probably 55 is to 55, or is 55 too much? Yeah, 55 is too much. Let's make it as 45. Try with that. Or maybe 50. 50 seems to be good enough. But yeah, we have space to it. That's fine. Okay, let's make this also as 50. 50 cross 50 basically. And I'll make it as fixed width and height. And this will be used. This is messaging. The blue one is messaging. It will load as soon as you are logged in, right? Okay. So I'm going to recreate this one again. Profile image, and bottom we have me. So I'm going to add a profile image here. Again, this will be current users profile pic. Again, roundness is 100, and layout, keep the aspect ratio fixed. We can change this one to 25 maybe, get it to center. And we need to add a text at the bottom. Okay. Now they also have an arrow added here. I will skip that arrow for now. Okay. And this is called me. Right. And me needs to be in the center. There is some space between me and this thing. We'll go to this particular group, and probably we can have like 5 pixels gap and make this me text 12, maybe 13. Okay, we have this text and we have this arrow. We can quickly create this thing as well. That's not a problem. We can add this icon over here. Okay, just that we'll have to again connect down, right? We can make this as black, and we can remove the padding 0, 0, 0, and 0. We can make this as 12 cross 12. Just that we'll have to again get this both in a group element of row container. Okay. And then send this particular icon to next. Get this to center. Oh, that's that big. Why did this group become that big? Okay. So we can make this as 10. And we can also make this as 10 with width to content, and get this to center. Okay. So this is what we have here, and this is what we just created. Okay. Now we need to add a group focus, right? And search for focus. We have group focus. Click here and let's see what is a group focus, right? It is like a floating group, but it is linked to a particular element. Okay, I'll show you what that means. So this particular group we have called group user. Okay. So reference element, let's search for user. And if you hover, you can see this is one user group that we have, and this is the other one. This is where we want to link it. The moment you link the reference element, the group focus moves with regards to that particular element. Okay. Now, if you go here, if you click on this, this is with regards to this one, but the edge, the right top edge is on the bottom right edge of this particular group. Okay, and we might want to do the same thing. So what we will do is this particular group seems to be like with 280 width. So we will make it as 280 as well, fixed width. Okay, and we want it to shift towards the left. And that's why we have this left. We can go to minus 200. Okay, it's still about 20 pixels or so. Make it as 2. Right? Again, 9 more. So let's go and make it as 30. And now this is almost aligned. Let's see. Now, if we click on this again, okay, you can see that this corner is sharp, while this is curvy, and this is also curvy. So let's replicate that. Okay, and the way we do that is defined independently. Top left can be 10, top right is 0, bottom right is 10, bottom left is also 10. Okay. And we also have some space over here. And for that to happen, we can go to offset top and make it as 10. Okay. So this is how we are linking a focus group to a particular element. Now, when we click on this is when this has to be shown. Otherwise, this will not be shown. So we will add a workflow. And instead of clicking, instead of element action show and hide, okay, which we used in term for pop-up, we will use toggle an element, right? And search for focus group A. Right. Let's quickly check if this is working fine. Right. Observe this. When I click on this once, it will show. When I click on it again, it will be hidden. We are going here. Click on this, shows. Click on it again, hides. Are you with me so far? Border line is not added. Let's quickly check. Oh yeah, we have a border. Let's add. Okay, so here's the group, and we need to have a padding. Let's add padding 20, 20, 20, and 20. Let's call it as user profile, and let's add border, solid, 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 and solid. So when we click on this, it shows up. When we click on it again, it gets hidden. The border seems to be a bit lighter in color, so we can change the color here. Maybe something like this, or maybe this one. So I'm using some defined value. Okay, let's quickly check if this is working fine. Okay, this is okay. Now I'll show you what is the advantage of using group focus, right? Because we have just seen that this is linked to this. Okay, I'll just move this particular group that we have created from last to first. Right, so we will go to this group focus. We'll hide this. So I've moved this particular group to the first in the header. I didn't touch the group focus, right? I didn't touch the group focus. I've just moved this one. I'll click on this. You can see the group focus moved from where it was before to here because it is linked with the group. So if this group moves, this will move along with that particular group. Getting it? So this group focus is linked to this element. So whenever you want to show a particular group, okay, very near to a particular element, you use group focus. Just to show you an example, I'm seeing if we have any other example. Okay, when I click on this one, this thing opens up, right? Now, think about it, right? This thing will move as and when we scroll. Okay, irrespective of wherever it is, when you click on this particular group will be shown very near to this one. Okay, and whenever that happens, okay, it is a group focus. It is not a pop-up, it's not a floating group. Okay, it's group focus. Is this clear, everyone? Okay, let's quickly create this section and then we can start the question and answer. Okay, so I'm just changing the padding from 20 to 10 because just saw that 20 is too much from what we have on LinkedIn. Okay, and we can see that we have 3 sections here, rather 4, right? So we can add groups within just to segregate. So this is a group. Let's call it as 1. Let's add one more group, which we can call it as 2. Let's add one more, which will be 3. And finally, the 4th group is just a text, which is sign out. So maybe we don't need a group there. Okay. The first group is again the profile image. So I'll just copy this one, come here, paste this, change this to maybe 35. Okay, and then we have to add a text here. Again, this group needs to be a row because we have the image and the name. I'm not going to add this bottom part yet. So this is the name. I'll take it to next. And this will be current user's name. Okay. We will add spacing between, and let's say 10. Okay. Now we have 2 buttons here, which is view profile and verify. So we will have to add one more group, or rather, I'll tell you how do we add this button. Okay, I've added one button here, and this is view profile. Right, and we have one more button which is verify. Okay, we have verified. Now verify button is blue in color. So 0462 CB. And we don't need this much thickness. You can change this to 25 maybe. Yeah, and roundness needs to be 20. Okay, so this is this button that we can see, right? And view profile is also 20 pixels roundness, and height 25. Okay, without the background color, but with border. Okay, 0462 CB, and we can use the same font as well. 0462 CB. Okay, that's what we have, and both the buttons seems to be of the same width. Okay, so I'll remove this. I will remove this as well. Okay, now this is not fitting in well. Okay, so let's make this as 70, not working. 80, not working. 90. Okay, this is good enough, right? So you can see that we have given it as a row, but still we have good enough, what I say, alignment. Okay, we will also add spacing like this, so it comes out well. And then we have a line below to this group. So we will go to this group and then add a line, which is border bottom. Okay, and that line comes after some spacing. So we can add some padding to the group at the bottom. Is 10. Or not margin, sorry. Padding. So you can see that. Oh, this should not happen, right? This should not happen. So we'll see what to do for that. Okay, while we don't have to create separate group for this. Okay, what we can do is this one, which has minimum width as 0. I'll make this as 75%. Okay, and of course I'll move this group to the last so that it goes wherever it is supposed to be. I'll explain to you what I did. I'll click on this. You can see that this has gone bottom now. Okay, so what I did is this group, we had made it as a row, right? And we had this image, we have this text, then we have two buttons. So if this is small enough, this particular text, if it is small enough, let's say I'll make this as 75 pixels and fixed, then the button will come on the first row itself. Okay, to ensure that the button does not come in the first row, I made this as 75%. Okay, this is 75% and this is already like 35 pixels. So this button, which is 90 pixels minimum width, does not have space to fit in here. Okay, that's why it is automatically going to the next row. Otherwise, we had to add this two in one group, make it as row, and this two in one group, make it as row, and then both of this group in column. Okay, so to avoid that, I use this particular method. Okay, it's just a workaround to get the same functionality. Is that clear? Okay, so let's quickly create the next section: account and a few text, manage and a few text. Okay, so that is here. So this we can name it as account, and we will add a text here, which is account, and we can make this as header 4, too big, header 6. Okay, yes, right. And then we can add text here, which is settings and privacy, help and language. Privacy, okay, which seems to be green color, something like this, or maybe this one. The next one seems to be help, help, and then the last one was language. Language. And of course, this has some spacing added between them. Let's add 10. Maybe 7. And we'll add a bottom of 10 and add the bottom border. Okay. I would like to copy this one and paste it, right? Because it's much similar. And we have manage. Manage. I'll change this group name to manage. And this seems to be posts and activities. Posts and activities, job posting account. Activity, then we have job posting account. And we don't have the last one. So I'll remove this. And finally, at the bottom, we have logout. Can just be a text as well. So that is sign out. Sign. And we need to have padding to this. So we can add like 10, 10, 10, and 10. Probably not on the left side because it is aligned. We don't need the left padding. So this is sign out. And of course, this needs to have the workflow of sign out. Log the user out. So let's quickly check if this is matching what we have on LinkedIn. So I'm clicking on this one and we have this. It's not exactly what we have on LinkedIn, but maybe very close, right? So there's good space here, good space here. So we'll add that one. So this one can have a top of 20. This can have a top of 20. I think we are good. Okay. Are we very close to what LinkedIn has to offer in terms of this particular focus group? Yes, 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 yes. 90%. We will get to 100%, hopefully. Yeah. But that's all we had for today, right? Again, what did we cover? We started with pop-up, right? So that is when you click on this one, a pop-up opens, and then you can create any post. Uh, File post created, right? Click on post, and it gets hidden. The post gets created, and alert box comes up. Then we have this floating group where even if you scroll, that will remain on the top. Okay, it is floating on the screen, and that's why it's called floating group. And then we have group focus or focus group, okay, which is this one, which is sticking to the element, right? Again, even if you are on any part of the page with scrolling, this will still be showing along with this particular element or group in this case. That's all we had for today. And we are open for questions. Feel free to ask your questions. The team will also be sharing the link for Zoom meeting so that if you have to unmute yourself and ask questions, feel free to do so. Let me just share the link of YouTube. Just give me a minute. Just a minute. Sorry. Let me join in and share the link. Um, yes. The link is shared in the chat box, and we are happy to take the questions. Yep, no problem, Manoj, and no problem, Devraj. If you want to leave, that's fine. And I hope it was valuable. I hope we were able to cover the things that we were supposed to cover, right? Please do practice because that's what matters. Okay, any questions from anybody in the chat or in the Zoom room? Yeah, so let me also show what is the workflow added, right? So this is the focus group that we have. And when we click on this particular group, right, we're just toggling it. Okay, this is toggle group focus. So that is available in elements action. Okay, and we did show and hide for pop-up. The next action we have is toggle an element. And when you do that, it'll ask you which is the element that you want to toggle. And that itself is our group focus that we create. Yeah, is that clear, Smita? And there you go. Sam has also answered it in the chat box. So we have a couple of them who can answer and help each other. And that's great. And that's why we build this community, right? So that's one of the reasons why I keep telling that do not directly message me because I might not be able to answer every single person. But we have the community who can support each other. And in case if nobody knows the answer or nobody has answered your questions yet, then we will take it during Q&A sessions or bubble roundtable. Or if I have time and if I check the message, then I'll respond as soon as possible. Yeah, awesome. So any questions from anyone else over the chat or on the Zoom Zoom meeting? Okay, looks like no more questions from anyone. We'll wait for a couple of more minutes just to see if there are any questions from anybody. Otherwise, we will wind up. But as always, feel free to ask your questions in the community and someone should be able to answer. Otherwise, we will definitely take the question and answer questions during the Q&A session. So for those of you who have stayed back, I would just like to understand, like, how are the sessions going on? Are you enjoying? I got one feedback from a couple of you, that is, you want some exercises to be given, right? What I would say is take a platform of your choice, right? Like we have taken LinkedIn for example. Okay. Um, you can replicate what we have learned so far, right? Try to replicate whatever we are doing. Okay, that could be your exercise. Or if you feel that, okay, LinkedIn we have already covered during the session, you can take any other platform, right? Maybe Twitter, Swiggy, Zomato, your college, what to say, platform, your company's platform, right? Try to build something while you're learning, because I don't see we are building LinkedIn just because we have all used it. Okay, so you will be able to relate to it better. Okay, but when it comes to exercise, I would say take any platform of your choice, right? Or try building something that you have always been thinking of, so that at the end of this 3 months, you have a real product which some of the users can use, right? And that's why I'm not giving you specific exercises after these sessions. Okay. If you feel that you do not have any ideas in mind, if you have no thoughts of what you want to build, that's completely fine. Okay, take any platform of your choice and see where we have like floating group, where we have pop up, where we have focus group, and try to replicate that, right? Or if you do not want to think about anything, just replicate LinkedIn. As whatever we are doing, just replicate what we are doing, and that is sufficient exercise, right? I'll promise you, whatever we are doing, if you are able to replicate that, you will master bubble in 3 months, because we are covering almost everything that is required for you to move from newbie to intermediate level, right? If you feel that you do not have any, so that is that. To answer your question, Sam, we will be covering reusable element. Let me quickly check. I don't know exactly. Let me check when is the reusable element topic coming up. So reusable element is still a bit far, okay, because the next session will be on data types, option sets, and custom states. The next to next would be Q&A session, because we have covered a lot of things by then, right? And so we will have a Q&A session, and probably after that is when the reusable element will come in. Okay. Hemant, you were talking something?
Hello, Ritesh. Can you hear me?
Yep, please go on.
Yeah, I have a question.
Mhm. Go on.
Okay, so my question is about actually, I want to share my screen and show.
Sure, sure, sure. Go on, go on.
Can I share my screen?
So, Hemant has a question. Let me bring that screen
Are you able to see my screen?
to all of you so that you can also hear what's the question about. And I hope you are able to hear him, right?
Uh, yeah, so my question is, so if you see here, I have created one group in that one cover page and the profile image is there.
Mhm.
So here what I did, I created this group as a fixed layout
Mhm.
so that I can adjust the profile pic on top of the cover page.
Yeah.
But if I use that as a fixed page in the responsive, it will not give a responsive flow, right? So
Yeah.
how I can make this with the row or column level and adjust this profile pic on top of that.
Okay. So you can use it as a column layout. Okay. So that the elements come one below the other. Okay. And then you can use margin of top minus 30, right? I'm saying minus 30 as an example. If your image size is, let's say, 50 pixels, then you want to make it as top minus 25. Okay. So it goes half above. Is that clear? Yeah. Go to your image. Not here, not here, not here. Image. Image top should be changed.
Top minus for the entire group or for image. Yeah.
Yeah. Add a minus of your, this thing is, so minus 75. Your height is 150, so you want to make it as 75, minus 75. Yeah. And now you can move left of 30 or something like that. Not minus, not minus. Yeah. Left, left, left. Left of 30. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
and another thing,
Mhm.
so here in the, yeah, I did that one. Another thing, here in the LinkedIn page, it will, the entire profile section comes in the middle, and then some toggling will come in the left side.
Mhm.
So I added this thing, but it's taking lot of space in between. So how I need to adjust that?
Oh, which one?
If you see the profile section, it is coming in the center, and after that, I have that added another group. So I make it as a two groups. One is for profile section, and another for some toggling options, which is coming in the right side. But if I'm adjusting that one, it is taking some space from the right side.
Mhm. So can you show me the layout that you have done?
So now how I
In the
can
editor.
make this
In the
as a
editor.
proper centered section?
So Hemant, what we will do is probably take this
Yeah.
question during our round table. Okay, because then we will be able to, like, you will be able to share the screen. I can take the
So it
control
is a
and
column.
do some
In that,
changes or something like that. Okay. I would take the question that we have
left and
handled
right,
today.
left section.
Okay, so that we are not
Yeah, yeah,
like covering something that we have not done for others. Does that make sense?
correct. Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for your understanding. Any other questions
Yes, yes,
from
yeah. We'll
anybody?
do that. Thank you.
No problem. Most welcome. Any other questions from anybody? If not, then we will wind up for today. Thank you so much for joining in, and I will see you on Saturday for the bubble roundtable. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice evening. Bye.